conversation on Parkinson's. Well, the many discussions are here to be discussed. And by the way, if you're joining us for the first time, we are live on the Morning Drift at Look Up Television. So we are hosting one of the amazing people that we've seen online, and I'd really request you to introduce yourself.
Hi. Hi. My name is Nduta. It's a pleasure to be here. Why am I here?
Of course.
I have Parkinson's disease. I don't like to think of it as a disease. It's more of a condition, because disease sounds like something negative. You know, I rather consider it a dis-ease. My body is not at ease, but that doesn't mean that it's never going to change, because change is the only constant, right? Yeah. So April is Parkinson's Awareness Month, and there are exciting things lined up. Let me just say that. Yeah.
Amazing. And so you said at ease.
Yes.
What does that mean?
My body is not currently at ease. It means that there are some disturbances. Largely, Parkinson's happens to persons who are above 50 or 60 or 70. So unfortunately, or fortunately, who knows, I am a young person with it. And actually, I got it as a child. So I am a case of juvenile onset Parkinson's disease, yes.
Right. Yes. Which is kind of different situation.
Yeah, majority patients, I mean, the numbers worldwide go up the older you get. Yeah.
At what time does the effect, of course, applies when you speak about uneasy?
Yeah.
At what time is it elevated?
So if I don't medicate, it's really dramatic. Like even this morning, before I took my dose, because I had sleep issues, that's another symptom actually.
Oh, okay.
It was really bad. And they usually say take your medicine at the same time. So I have to just wait, right? So towards the next dose, it's a bit tough, but I power through. I power through.
All right.
Yeah.
So if it's your first time, of course, embracing this particular conversation, remember the 11th of April will be Parkinson's Day, honored worldwide. And perhaps if you're also joining us in the conversation, remember, you can also share with us your understanding on Parkinson's live on Facebook and YouTube. Use the hashtag The Morning Drift, and of course use the hashtag Parkinson's Day. My name is Okech, and of course we are embracing this particular conversation in the context of every other person that has come about or has this condition, and even as we raise awareness towards this particular condition. Let's begin with this. Nduta, you've been with this condition for quite some time now.
Yes.
Tell us your story.
So for a long time, we didn't actually know what was happening, because even when you go to the hospital, etc., they would not consider that a young person has Parkinson's disease, right? So I can start from the beginning. There is a trip we went on in high school, primary school. I think I was about 15 or 16.
You did?
And we climbed some rocks, and when I got to the top, I guess the adrenaline was over the roof, and I just started to shake, and my teacher was so worried. She was like, come down, have you been drinking changa? Because it was intense, right? And so I came down, and nothing really, I didn't feel like I wasn't in control of my body. I didn't feel like it was a big deal. I thought it was just nerves, you know? But then that small tremor settled into my body, and slowly it became bigger and bigger and bigger, to a point where it became a cause for concern. I couldn't do chores, I couldn't, even getting dressed was tough, but this is like years apart, because I'm currently in my 30s, I'm in my early 30s, so it's been about 17 years of this condition, yes.
17 years?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
What are some of the things that you've embraced in the 17 years of your journey with Parkinson's?
Accepting the diagnosis was definitely tough, and there's liberation. There's liberation when you accept, and there's liberation when you understand what's happening, because without a diagnosis, you don't know what to do. You don't know where to go. You don't know who to speak to. You don't know what groups to join or what research to start doing. So yes, I accepted the diagnosis. It took a while.
I did.
I was also very stubborn. I refused to immediately medicate, because I'm not a very strong believer in big pharma. I mean, it works. Yes, it works, but there's so many other complications inside there. So I was diagnosed in 2022 from, that's what, 15 years, roughly.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, and since then I joined the support group, and I have embraced becoming an advocate for this condition. I feel in our society, not a lot of people know about it, and there's a lot of misconception. People think I'm nafa kutoa lock. You know, people think people think a lot of things. Let's just leave it at that.
Nafa kutoa lock. What does that mean?
Basically, if I'm an alcoholic, because alcoholics shake as well, right? Or junkies, people who are addicted to drugs and all these.
But it's kind of different situation.
Very different. I don't even drink to begin with. I don't like alcohol. Already, I don't have balance. So why would I add something that reduces my balance?
Indeed.
You know what I mean? So
that means people with Parkinson's can't do drugs?
No. Well, it's a personal choice. I don't know. It's a personal choice. But personally, for me, I don't like alcohol at all.
Indeed.
Yeah.
All right. In the same context, what are some of the challenges that you've embraced when in all the 17 years that you've been? Are there things that you can't do, perhaps?
I wouldn't say can't do. I mean, probably, but I don't like to fixate on that. I think some of the biggest things that I face.
Yeah.
Pardon?
It's a sense of weakness.
Not even weakness. It's more like I'm putting myself down before even trying.
Indeed.
Why would I do that?
Indeed.
You know?
Yeah.
So some of the things that I'm very concerned about. You see, if you're an older person who's developed this condition, maybe you've worked, you're on pension, you've had your children, you've lived your life, right? So now, maybe towards the end, your sunset years is when this has become a cause for concern. But you see, having it at such a young stage in my life it makes you wonder, what is my future going to be like? You know, will I find people who accept me, people who support me? Will I be able to find work for the rest of my life? Will I be able to support myself? Will I be able... It's a lot of questions. A lot of questions. But I am also quite stubborn. So when you ask me what can't I do, to be honest, I don't think there's anything. I mean, definitely my body is not as strong as everybody else, but I still, I still try to work out. I do my yoga, I eat right, I try to sleep right, I hydrate, all these things, and I'm out here making the most of what life has handed me.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Wow, that is captivating.
Thank you.
As how you describe it. In the same sense, you didn't mention about it becoming a weakness. So it means the more times you embrace it, the more times now you become more stronger. Do you think other people with the same condition should embrace that?
I would highly encourage everybody to just break out of your shell, because as much as it's tough, it's hard, it sits on your body, it sits on your mind, it causes mental health problems like depression and anxiety, it causes pain, it causes sleep issues, it causes emotional problems. There's 40 plus symptoms of this condition, but I would really urge people not to let this dictate their lives. It might be a part of your life, but it's not your whole life. You are not defined by this condition.
Indeed. At what time did you realize that you now can be an advocate in Parkinson's?
So I actually started in October of 2024, that was last year, after probably, I don't want to put a number to it, but I can say roughly 40 people or so in my life were just like, go public, go public, go public, go public. And finally,
and you went public.
I was like, fine, guys, I hear you, I will, yeah. So that's how that happened. One of my aunties has been a strong supporter of me, and she was my biggest encourager.
Do you think she's watching?
If not, she will watch the recording. But
Indeed.
shout out Auntie Jambi. Thank you so much. Yeah.
All right. So that is when you realize that you can now come out up front and speak about this.
Yes.
Of course, without forgetting, there are also many others that will be afraid to come out and speak about it.
Yeah. I mean, even just in the lead up to the event that's happening this weekend, which we'll talk about, I'm sure, a bit later.
Indeed.
Like, the support group has over 300 people, but it's so hard to find a person who's willing to come out and share their story, for example, So I would really encourage, but interestingly, one of the other symptoms of Parkinson's is you lose the ability to be loud.
Indeed.
So that's a cause for concern. If you're coming on interviews, if you're making videos and people can't hear what you're saying, it makes you feel like maybe there's no point.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed. Has that condition affected you in one way or the other?
Sometimes my voice gets a little bit shaky. Sometimes I can't really be very loud. I can't project my voice. But I would say majority of the time my voice is okay.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Which is a plus.
Definitely.
Indeed.
Which allows me to actually be an advocate, because you have to have a voice, right?
Indeed. To make sure that people
hear
get
you.
to listen to you.
Yeah, precisely.
All right. As we embrace even the awareness, what will be your take on stigmatization on this particular Parkinson's?
We talked about people saying that I'm an alcoholic, for example. There's someone who thought I was a heroin addict. But one thing I'm also coming to realize is people will only assume what they know. Does that make sense? So if they've seen someone somewhere shaking because of alcohol, they'll automatically assume that, right?
Yeah, sure.
There's also the stigma of, what would I say? uchawi, juju,
Indeed.
witchcraft. People think that, I mean, I've even seen it on social media in the comments. People
Indeed.
are saying, go see a witch doctor.
Indeed.
Maybe there's something in your ancestry. Go see, I don't even know.
Walikuroga.
Something like that, right? And
Kweli.
it's very interesting. And someone even said, diseases from the West have come to Africa. And in my mind, I was asking myself, are African bodies different to Caucasian bodies? Different to Indian bodies? It's not possible. It's not
Indeed.
true. All our biology is exactly the same, more or less, right? So yeah, there's a lot of ignorance. There's a lot of work to be done.
Indeed.
People really stare at me because it's weird. I'm not going to lie. When the shakes
Begins now.
yeah, because I've taken my morning dose right now. I'm more or less going to be steady for the next maybe 2-3 hours, and then it might dip. It depends on what I'm doing, what my emotional state is, if I'm hungry, if I slept well, if I'm tired.
Indeed.
It's yeah, it's a
so-
lot.
Indeed. I was about to say something that's funny. But
Go ahead.
Okay.
Let's laugh. Let's laugh.
Okay. So of course, in the next few hours, it means that it's gonna start.
It's going to be a shaky situation, yes.
A real shaky one.
A real shaky situation, probably, yeah.
But you can move.
Yes. So the interesting thing, it's a movement disorder. The interesting thing about movement disorders is your body moves when it's not supposed to, and when you want it to move, it doesn't really move. So that duality is very interesting. But at the same time, one of the remedies for movement disorders is to move,
Indeed.
like exercise,
Indeed.
right? So you have to move. You have to move. Like we're not trees. We're not made to be, stagnant in one place.
Indeed.
Yeah.
So it has happened. You're shaking a lot, then you're shaking a lot, then now you need to get back to normalcy. How do you embrace that? How do you make sure that you come back to normal?
I mean, what can I say? If I medicate, I more or less I should be okay. But even in those moments where maybe the meds are wearing off or something else is happening, maybe I've had some news and it's changed my emotional state. I breathe. I literally just take a few deep breaths,
Indeed.
disconnect, go inward,
Indeed.
and that usually helps tide me over to the next time I'm
course.
supposed to take the medication. Yes.
So how do you manage fatigue?
Oh, fatigue was a big one. Actually, one of the first signs and symptoms that I noticed, there's a friend of mine from university, and she moved abroad, etc., etc. Hi, Betty, if you're watching. Every time we'd speak, I'd be like, I'm tired. And she'd be like, Nduta, every single time we talk, you're telling me you're tired. And it didn't really occur to me, right? So, for a long time, I used to think just being an adult means you're tired.
Indeed.
Turns out there was something underlying. So if you're tired, please see a professional. So how do I manage the fatigue that
Indeed.
comes on? I try to eat right. That's very important because what you're nourishing your body with will give you the energy that you need.
Of course.
Things like wheat, sugar, etc., have a detrimental effect on the well-being of your body. So I avoid those things as much as I can. I try to rest enough.
Indeed.
I try to be active because the more exercise you do, the better your body feels generally, and the more energy you have. So I try to be consistent with that as much as I can.
Indeed.
And yeah, I rest quite a lot. Yeah.
All right. In the same context, for treatment on Parkinson's, we'll come to discuss that in the next session. But right, because you spoke about being active and being lively, have you ever come in a situation that you are supposed now to handle your emotions in a particular direction?
So the most telling thing about a condition like this one is that my body will always sell me out. If I am having an emotional situation, almost instantly I feel it rise. I feel the sensations rise and it hits the top and I'm just a shaky person. So managing my emotions, I'm still working on that. I meditate quite a lot. That really helps, transcendental meditation. It helps balance you, it helps center you, it helps ground you. Yeah, but daily battle. Yeah, I can imagine for anybody else.
Indeed.
Emotions are hard to master, so
Indeed.
yeah, work in progress.
Like the picture you shared, were you meditating at the point?
I was actually at an event. I like to sit like that, generally. It's comfortable for me. So I wasn't meditating. Yeah. Crisscross applesauce.
I think you're flexible then.
I do yoga. I try to do yoga. I wish I could do more.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Like, Like I'm trying to understand how of course your legs would
fold like that.
fold
So
like that.
maybe I was blessed. In primary school, that's how we used to sit.
And
And I guess I never lost the ability.
Oh.
The thing about bodies is we're all born flexible. We're all born with the ability to do a lot of amazing things. But if you don't nurture that ability, then you lose it, definitely.
Indeed.
Yeah.
For someone who's watching for the first time, and I would really want to understand Parkinson's, and also would like to get the idea that this is how it starts. What will be your immediate approach towards the first signs and symptoms that we embrace?
So one of the first things I remember was if I would stand up to run, because I played a lot of sports growing up. If I would stand up to run, my ankles, they would be shooting pain. And I thought this was just, a random occurrence. One of the other things I noticed is a lot of discomfort in my shoulders and my back. That was cause for concern, but again, you keep moving with life because maybe you carried something heavy, blah, blah, blah. You make excuses and you move on. What else did I notice? I think
at your young age?
Yeah, as a young person. I always used to ask random people, just Fina my back, Fina my shoulders, I'm so uncomfortable.
Massage.
Yeah. So, okay, not random people, but like people I knew. Yeah. What else would I say? Slowness of movement, I noticed a bit further on. We would be in a meeting, for example, and everybody's packed all their things and I'm still there packing my bag with my laptop, etc. And it didn't really occur to me until I can't rush. Actually, let me just say I can't rush. If we're late for a plane or a bus or whatever, I will get ready hours in advance.
That's why you came early.
Exactly.
Indeed.
Exactly. I would rather come, sit and wait
Indeed.
than rush myself and then become a mess, essentially, yeah.
Right,
Because
indeed.
time
So the
pressure
now comes
exactly, and it affects my entire well-being.
Indeed.
Yeah.
So those are things that people should consider. This is a particular Parkinson's, because when I posted that poster and the questions in line, sasa mtu anauliza sasa hii ni gani tena?
Yeah, no, I mean, people don't know, and that's why I'm here to talk about it. I'm not feeling cold when I'm shaking. Usually I'll be in a jacket or a sweater or a scarf or it's warm outside. It's not cold. So if you ask me, are you feeling cold? I'll say no. A lot of the time, people have fear, people have misunderstanding, people have confusion. But some people have support and some people have understanding. So it's a mixed bag. It's a beautiful journey. Yeah.
So you don't sweat?
Of course I do. Of course I do. I'm a human being, guys. I'm a human being like everybody else. Everything that you do, I do too. It's just a bit different. Yeah.
Is it painful?
It can be at times. Yes. What can I say? It can be at times. Recently, since I've medicated, it's a lot better. But there are moments where I'll feel, even like in bed, if I lie on one side for too long, I'll feel a bit of discomfort, so I have to shift. Or my feet sometimes will be so painful.
Indeed.
Yeah.
All
or
right.
the back of my neck, yeah.
So the entire body might be affected.
Yeah, bits and pieces. It comes differently for different people, yeah. Yeah.
All right. And in the same page, there's a question here: how do you cope with the physical and emotional challenges of living with Parkinson's? You described it earlier, but allow me to pose the question in the sense that 17 years ago, of course, as you grow up, you were now trying to understand this particular disease since you're young.
Condition, yes.
Sorry.
It's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay.
Of
It's
course.
okay.
So, were you able also to write as well?
To write, yes.
Do you have challenges to write?
I could write for a long time. I guess I can still write now. It's just my handwriting is not good to look at.
Indeed.
Yeah, sometimes I can't even read what I've written myself, lol. But yes, I can. I mean, I can get by. I can get by.
Indeed.
Yeah, but it wasn't, when I was taking notes in class, etc., it wasn't that intense.
Indeed.
Yeah.
So definitely, how long does it take you to write particular words?
I mean,
like your name?
That not very long. It just depends. It depends on the state my body is in. When the tremor is on, it's a bit tough.
Indeed.
Yeah.
All right.
But otherwise, yeah, I can. And more or less, I can get by.
Indeed. Just the time when we were discussing, you mentioned you posted something about texting.
Oh yes. I use voice to text a lot. That's the function on your phone that dictates what you're saying into the phone.
Indeed.
A lot of the time there are errors.
Indeed.
Because I have an accent, allegedly. Siri hears what Siri wants to hear.
Indeed.
And sometimes those errors are so embarrassing, but it makes for a funny conversation.
Indeed.
And yeah.
But when you were texting, you never had errors?
Because maybe I wasn't somewhere noisy, or I was able to text directly. You get what I mean?
Indeed.
It also depends on how shaky I am. Yeah. And if I'm able to reread the message and edit it and make sure that it's gone with the right information. Yeah.
So you have to be very careful. And also it depends with those people that you're addressing.
Exactly.
Maybe if it's your friends, you can just share it out.
Anything, yeah. But if it's a professional situation, then I have to be a bit more focused.
Indeed.
Yes.
Talk to us about your support system.
I mean, I'm very grateful. I'm very blessed. I think a big part of life is family, is friends, is support, right? So my immediate family is very supportive. My parents, my brothers, my aunties, my uncles are very supportive.
Indeed.
Even the people that I've met since the condition got as intense as it did, you know, people taught me it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to be vulnerable. I wouldn't say I've had bad experiences with the people in my immediate circle. Usually it's an outsider.
Indeed.
Yeah.
So most of the people that have supported you is their family.
Family and friends, largely.
As we create awareness, how does support system entirely in Parkinson's comes in handy to make sure that you people are really encouraged and you can move on swiftly?
So I would like to give a major shout out to the support group, for example, because they provide resources and community, right? Where you find other people who are going through something similar to you. It's not the same because we're all individuals. We all have different things going on in our lives. But just that sense of belonging, that sense of I'm not alone, really goes a long way. And they have presence in Mombasa and presence in presence in Nairobi and presence in Kisumu. I do believe there's one in Mombasa as well. Yes. So slowly, slowly, we're hoping that there will be presence in every county, hopefully.
The women and the males who are mostly affected by the condition?
I can't say specifically. I think men are more susceptible, according to the last research that I was reading, but now within that bracket, women have susceptibility to other symptoms. Like I was just reading this morning, dyskinesia, which is a side effect of the medication, is involuntary movements. Women are more susceptible to that. So it's a bit of a mixed bag. Yeah.
Socially, how do you handle social engagement within maybe your family, your society, your friends, the engagement, total engagement that you have to embrace? How do you handle that? If at all that you're in a new environment, now to adjust to reality.
Yes, in the past that would give me a lot of anxiety, especially going to a new place. So I would, as much as possible, I wouldn't go anywhere alone. I would make sure someone I know is on the other side to receive me, has maybe pulled out a chair or something like that, can just help me get settled in, and then I'll scope the area and then I'll feel better. But now that I'm a bit more capable on medication, it's not as bad, but I still get interesting reactions. In terms of family engagements, most of them are aware of what is happening, so that makes it a lot easier. And I think in African societies, we don't talk to the person, we talk to all the people around them, right? So I remember this one experience I had at the SGR during COVID time. People kept saying, you know, is she okay, is she okay, is she okay? And nobody talked to me directly until I actually asked the station manager, why are you not addressing me? You know, and he was like, I apologize, yeah. So interestingly, if I'm with people, people will ask the people that I'm with.
But where's the jam?
I don't get mad. I think I'm at a point where I've accepted this is a part of my life, not forever, but for the time being, this is a part of my life, and I can laugh. I can laugh about it, and I'm very grateful for that, because there's a time I couldn't laugh about it.
Of course, in our next section, of course, we'll discuss about the healing, whether the medical treatments are working out, and there are many people that have healed from this particular condition. Indeed. And Eddie was asking, do you have someone?
Hi guys, personal questions, please DM me, we'll talk.
All right, DM, all right, no worries. Of course, that is Nduta M'mbogori.
Yeah, M'mbogori.
All right, don't go too far. Of course, we've just had a little bit of a chit-chat with Nduta to really understand the condition, and when we come back, we'll now be able to get the entire basis on health and treatment. Is this condition, are they able to get a treatment method that is successful towards Parkinson's? No. So I think we'll embrace that when we come to the next session.
Sure thing.
All right, don't go too far. This is the Morning Drift. taarifa zinapochipuka na kutufikia papa hapa kwenye makao makuu ya chumba cha habari cha runinga ya Look Up. Kwenye taifa, kwenye serikali, kwenye bunge, tunajitosa hadi kwenye sauti ya wenyeji ili kupata tu maoni ya wenyeji kuhusu masuala haya yanayochipuka.
Maana hii kitu inaenda kuumiza Mkenya kwa tax.
Hakuna kitu tunafurahia. Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Sisi tunaumia, si ati tunaumia ile ya kiukweli. Juu maisha ni ngumu.
Na bila shaka tunapata maoni yao ili sauti yao ipate kusikika. Na watasema hili, waseme lile, watasema hiki na waseme kile, almuradi sauti yao ipate taa.
Mambo ya mafuta tena imekuwa ni changamoto zaidi kwa kila mtu, kwa bodaboda.
Uchumi ikikuwa stable, tunaamini mambo itakuwa sawa sawa.
Kwanza liko na ria wasa wa boda, mama mboga nini. Hao sasa ndio wamefinywa zaidi man.
Mpenzi mtazamaji, hii ni bunge la wenyeji.
If you want to have a proper outlook of the economy, then you have to speak to the wheels and gears of the integral businesses in the country.
And I want to be able to make the youths and everybody coming up in Kenya know that this is here locally.
Men and women in the thick of the bust of markets rising and falling, fighting to make their business decisions stick.
I've always lived in my career that I can never be late.
You need to train by yourself. You need to practice by yourself. Then from there you can compose yourself and give kind of services like this.
On season 2 of the Captain's Arena, we seek the inside of the minds, predict the shift in the markets, get inspiration to start and make sense of it all.
Just watch what everybody else is doing and just make sure you're giving back to the society.
Oof. This is the Captain's Arena.
Feeling like unwinding and calming your nerves down after a long week? I'm Nakala. Join me on the Nakala Report this coming Friday and every Friday at 8 p.m. only on Look Up TV. At Nakala Report, we turn the insanity into sanity and sanity into insanity.
Kipindi ni ukulima ni mali na manjoro. Kumbuka hapa ndipo unajifunza mambo mengi kuhusu ukulima. Kilimo ni uti wa mgongo wa nchi. Na ukiwa na njoro unajifunza. Kumbuka, angalia mwenyewe. Tunakuambia ukitaka kujua tips za ukulima, ungana na sisi kwenye Look Up TV. Every Sunday unatukuta pale saa 10, tunakuonesha kuhusu ukulima. Ukulima wa mimea, ukulima wa ng'ombe, ukulima wa kuku, ukulima wa mbuzi na yote ambayo yanahusiana na ukulima. Kumbuka nini? Kipindi ni ukulima ni mali.
Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate that you are linking with us across all social media platforms, on website www.lookuptv.co.ke and Facebook and YouTube. We begin with a question, a new disease.
No, it is not. I think the person who discovered it, his name was Parkinson's in 1817. So it's not a new disease. I think even before that, people just maybe didn't know what it was.
Indeed.
Yeah.
All right. So they
didn't know what it was, yeah. But it's been around for a while.
Indeed.
Yeah.
All right. So being around also matters a lot to the society and them understanding this particular condition. But away from that, that will ask in the near end of this particular broadcast. please help us understand about this health condition and its treatment.
So the entire premise of Parkinson's is that the cells in your brain that are responsible for creating the happy hormone, calling it that because that's what people know it as, dopamine, stop working as they're supposed to. But dopamine is not only responsible for making you happy and feel good, it's responsible for a lot of other things. So you find sleep issues, you find digestive issues, you find mood changes, you find pain, you find, stiffness in the body, which is a major symptom as well. Yeah.
Digestive too?
Digestive as well, yes. Without being too graphic, constipation is a major factor for a lot of patients with this condition. And actually even the medication itself causes more of that. So it's just a balance between what's working for you, what's not working for you as an individual,
All right. Yeah. Talking about digestive, I also figured out, so how do you help yourself when now you
in that situation?
In that situation.
Definitely hydrate a lot. Definitely eat your fiber, eat your greens, eat your fruits. Mind, don't eat too much wheat, because wheat isn't good for your digestion. It's different for everyone. So I would just say learn your body, learn what works for you, and do that. Yeah, and stay consistent and stay regular with whatever you're practicing.
Are there foods that we need to consider?
Again, it's an individual basis, but largely I would say anything that's going to inflame your system, for like wheat again, or sugar. Sugar is an inflammatory agent also. Just avoid or reduce.
Avoid sugar.
Yeah.
More so when now you are at the peaks of Parkinson's.
I mean, it's always there, right? So if the medication goes down, the symptoms just come back up. Just because I'm seemingly steady now, it doesn't mean that the condition has disappeared or that. Yeah. So yes,
this is some things I should consider when I'm young as well with the condition.
Definitely, and ultimately, if we're all aging, why don't you just start these healthy practices early?
Historical background about the healthy behaviors for Parkinson's.
What do you mean?
Maybe our parents had this particular condition. Does it affect the child?
So yes, there's a way you can hand it down genetically. I actually know somebody who's third generation Parkinson's, but that wasn't the case in my family. I am the first person to present with this condition, and I believe I am the last. Pardon?
Which your family took as a normal thing.
Normal in what sense?
Normal in what sense that nobody has this particular condition, and now Nduta is presenting these conditions.
I mean, how else are they supposed to take it? Because it's here now, right? I wouldn't say it's normal, but
they've never seen it.
No.
All right.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm asking because if it was another family, they'll have had a different approach towards this.
Yeah.
And because we're raising awareness to so many other families that perhaps in one or the other they felt like apana that there's a problem in this, and maybe they just
pushed it to the side, sort of.
Yeah.
There's definitely a genetic marker for it, but that's not the only way that it can appear. Yes. So, and I think it's rare to actually hand it down to your children. There's a lot of guys. Google is our friend. Yes, that's all I will say. I'm not an expert in a lot of these things.
Okay.
But yes, I share awareness where I can. Yeah.
When I asked you about the social engagement, and now how do you handle washrooms when you get washrooms that needs public participation?
Washrooms are tricky. I think I'm a lot more capable now. I'm a lot more independent. But in the past, I've had my friends assist me. I've had people in my life assist me. I've had even strangers assist me.
Indeed.
I've had people do the opposite.
Indeed.
Be scared, be afraid, not want to help, not want to touch me, think it's contagious, those sort of things. We live, we learn. Yeah. Because what I also won't do, if I'm not feeling steady enough, I won't leave the house.
Okay.
You understand? Yeah. I would rather just stay in my own space where I'm comfortable and I can take care of things in my own way. Yeah.
You've just gotten into a washroom and the uneasiness begin. And hapo nje kuna watu wengi wamejaa and they're waiting to use the same washroom.
Hey, I really avoid big crowds. I really avoid big crowds because already my body is not 100% strong.
Indeed.
So anything can happen. I can be pushed over, I can be stepped on, anything can happen. So social engagements, I try to keep them within a certain number. I won't go for a concert by Sauti Soul, for example, because I know there'll be thousands and thousands of people there. VIP. Exactly. Or unless I go really, really early and I get a seat very, very early and I'm comfortable and I can see that is a direct line to the washroom. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you can't run?
I can. It just takes a toll.
Alright.
It takes a toll, yeah. Because you can imagine your body's using extra resources, etc., trying to keep you at that pace, yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah.
When do you in danger?
When I'm in danger?
In danger.
Okay.
Fight
or flight?
Any.
Yeah.
How do you handle danger? Like for instance, watu wanze kutoka mbio.
So interestingly, this condition, if a fire breaks out now, survival will kick in, and my body will function 100%.
Amazing.
But immediately after, it just, yeah, exactly. It's almost like a robot, exactly.
Clearly.
It's the most interesting thing. So even when I was being diagnosed, I asked the doctor, what if in instances where something has happened and nimetoka mbio, he told me, that's just kawaida, that's just survival kicking in. And I was like, oh, okay. So for a while I thought because I can do that I'm not so badly off.
Indeed.
But it turns out that that's just another symptom of this condition.
Survival tactics.
So, literally.
Indeed.
Literally.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So God anakupatia hii na bado anakupatia solution.
You'll get out of the way.
Indeed.
For sure. Yeah.
All right. Talk to us about diagnosis for this particular condition, and you're now into the hospital, and we need now to start this diagnosis.
So a lot of people actually go misdiagnosed for years with this condition because there are a lot of other conditions that mimic it. I think by the time a doctor is, because it's an opinion, that's why you're told first opinion, second opinion. It's a doctor's medical opinion based on the information, the history, etc. that they've had in the past, right? So I would highly recommend, for me, I think I had over 5 professionals confirm the same thing. A local doctor, a doctor in America, a doctor in India, another Indian doctor. Like everybody just came to the same conclusion. So at that point, I was quite certain that that is what it is.
Indeed.
Yeah. I've done so many tests as well to rule out other things. I was even being told HIV, if it gets into your brain, can have similar effects. But no, it's not HIV in my brain. It's just the dopamine cells in my brain not producing dopamine as they should. Yeah.
Wow. All right. So as we even embrace that, now the treatment methods. You have the call to the doctor. You have to visit the doctor. These are the things that we're doing with the doctor. If I'm having this particular condition, tell us how the treatment journey begins.
Again, it's different for everybody because by the time you're being diagnosed, maybe you're presenting different symptoms than I did. So I can only give you my experience, right?
Indeed.
The first thing they do, there's a whole series of tests that you do in the neurologist's office. So you need to see a neurologist actually. You can't be diagnosed by anybody because it's a nerve condition, right? So you have to go to a nerve specialist. That's the first thing. And then they assess you and they say, you know, maybe I think we can try this medication. The medication is called Sinemet. It's a combination of levodopa, which is dopamine if I'm not wrong, and carbidopa, which is an inhibitor to stop your body from digesting it before it gets to your brain where it's needed, right? So globally, I think that's the main medication that's available in different variations. So when I started, he had me on a quarter pill, I think 3 times a day, because you also have to see how your body tolerates the medication, because some people can't tolerate different varieties, right? So that's where we started, and then he just kept going up and up and up, and I wasn't very comfortable with that because, as I mentioned earlier, the medication has side effects. It's chemicals.
Indeed.
There's toxins to consider. There's a lot of things to consider. So me being the stubborn human that I am, I will always try a natural remedy. So recently there is something called velvet bean, Mucuna pruriens is the scientific name, and it's natural.
Indeed.
So it works for me even on a mental level. I feel like I'm not doing so much harm to my body when I take that.
Indeed.
But availability and dosage, it's still in the beginning stages. So yeah, right now I'm between Mucuna and the pharma.
Have you come across the side effects?
Yes. Of Sinemet, of pharma?
Yeah, of the treatments, maybe the chemicals that you've used before.
Yes, I mean, as I mentioned earlier, dyskinesia is one. It's very uncomfortable. So tremor means I'm doing this, right?
Yeah.
Dyskinesia means I usually get it in my legs. As you can see, I'm fidgeting. That's a bit of it. Maybe I can share other videos later, but yes, dyskinesia is definitely one. As I mentioned earlier, constipation is another one. There are also sleep disturbances. For some people, even experience sexual dysfunction on the medication, there's a whole list of things that can happen to you.
Sexual dysfunction.
Yes, so you either become overly active or it just goes away.
It's beneficial. It's actually...
We are not discussing that right now. We're not discussing that right now.
Okay, we'll discuss it on the digital platform.
Yes, we can do that online, yes.
All right, I know, Siwasi. Then the healing now process begins.
Yes. So a lot of people say there's no cure. A lot of people say you have to manage this condition. But from where I sit, this is not something I was born with. I believe that your mindset carries a lot. And I believe that if you believe in healing, then healing is yours, right? So that's the journey that I'm currently on. I found an amazing doctor, Dr. Hamisi Kote Ali, the barefoot doctor. I don't know if you know about him. He is completely natural. He doesn't use medication, he doesn't use surgery. So when he learned about me, he reached out and we've been on the journey together. I'm on session 5 out of 12. It's been very interesting. I'm not going to lie, it's uncomfortable. Some of the things he does, we're undoing, right? We're undoing. So, here, napenda kufinya. But all in all, your body comes back to itself after maybe a few days of rest, and you feel better. Yeah.
All right. Because we are embracing awareness, and the next few days we'll be having a
few activities. Yes.
Yeah. So I would really like to know about the context now on how important is this particular day for you guys, and how really is it significant towards embracing the awareness for the Parkinson's. But before that, you are so much active on social media as far as awareness is concerned, and there's so much comments that are coming with it.
Yes. I wouldn't say so much active.
How do you tackle that?
I'm trying. I'm really trying. So for a long time, I worked in marketing and advertising, and my social media accounts were literally to spy on my clients' accounts.
Indeed.
Right? I was not an active social media person.
Amazing.
But now, embracing advocacy, I've had to become a social media person. Right? I have a TikTok account, a Facebook account, an Instagram account, and there's other work that I do with that, which I have other accounts for as well.
Amazing.
Shout out Jungle Culture. We'll talk about that later. So, how do I handle it? Some of the comments are out of this world, to be very honest, and some of them I don't even touch them. But I leave Kenyans to be Kenyans, and the other Kenyans who want to, defend me or support me, do that to the best of their abilities. If I find that it's very inappropriate, I won't even respond. But if it makes me laugh, to check it. Someone told me, go to settings and turn off vibration. I'm like,
okay.
Yeah, people have jokes. People have a lot of jokes. Yeah, someone told me, there was even this recent story of Nduta in Vietnam. Someone said, ushatoka Vietnam. I'm like, surely, not me, guys. But yeah, people make a lot of jokes. People have interesting questions. People have opinions as well, from maybe what they've experienced with themselves or with other people. I'm open to all of it.
Indeed.
I don't get upset. I don't get mad.
So in your room and you're watching the comments?
It's funny. It's quite funny.
Just laugh?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Do you tell your people to come and laugh with you?
Oh, 100%. I even take screenshots. I send them to my cousins. I send them to my people. I'm like, Abu, see these humans.
Indeed.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
But I think also that allows you to have a stable mental health condition.
Definitely.
100%. How has the comments, approach, social engagement, maybe negative or positive, affected your mental health?
What I will say, the thing I didn't anticipate when I started going public was, and I might get emotional, God forgive me.
Don't cry.
There's so much support. There is so much support. I did not anticipate that at all. People are saying, you're going to heal, we're in this together. You've got this, you're a strong girl, your English is amazing. So I would say largely, maybe even 95% of the comments that I receive are just supportive and positive.
Indeed.
So that little 5%, I know the human condition likes to focus on negative things, but I shouldn't even give that any time of day, you know?
Indeed.
Yeah.
Are there questions that you've asked your doctors that above all, enyewe najua tunaendelea na harakati ya kutibu, but there's some specific questions that you perhaps as Nduta would have loved to know, and the only person that would have assisted you is the doctors?
So when I first got diagnosed, I asked him, so what's the way forward? What do I do? And he literally sat there, looked me in the eye and said, brain surgery or medication for the rest of your life. And that broke my heart. that broke my heart, because I asked myself, this now sounds like a death sentence. Who wants to be chokoraing, you know, going into your brain? That sounds risky, right? On the other side, I hadn't anticipated that I would have a disability card. I hadn't anticipated that I would be on medication for the unforeseeable future, right? These are medical costs, these are physical costs, these are, it's a lot. It's a lot to think about. And so that's a medical doctor. But now on the other side, when I talk to someone like Dr. Hamisi, who's natural, he really encourages me. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And we need encouragement about how to fight this.
Definitely. And the other thing I will say, a condition like Parkinson's is needs a multidisciplinary approach from the people who are caring for you. So there's maybe a physiotherapist involved. If you need a speech therapist, there's a speech therapist involved. There might be an occupational therapist involved, because you might lose the ability to use your hands and your fingers. And if you don't use it, you lose it. There's a medical doctor. There might be alternative therapies, like maybe acupuncture or massage, or it's a whole team. It's a whole team. Yeah.
So that means mkono zako zitakatu hivi. They don't work, hazifanyi kazi.
Not that they don't work. It's just that, how can I explain? It feels like, you know this thing children play with, plasticine?
Yeah, sure.
How it's tough and like hard. Sometimes that's what it feels like in my fingers, in my feet. So yeah, just to remind yourself to constantly, you know, stretch, mobilize, take something like a stress ball, finya stress ball, things like that.
Really? When you had these pains and the other positions, and nazo umekuwa kama tu zombie, that like you just katu zuba.
Yeah, actually, sometimes in the past, before I started medicating especially, I would sit in one spot. If I've gone out, because I work in entertainment currently, if I've gone out to the club,
What kind of entertainment?
Music. Music. I have started.
So you sing?
I don't sing. I'm not an entertainer myself, but we curate events, and we're building a community for a new genre in Kenya. It's called drum and bass, not German bass, drum and bass. Yeah, it's really interesting. It's going really well, actually. It's Kenya. So, and I'm surrounded by a lot of musicians, a lot of DJs, a lot of artists. So even when I go to the club to enjoy a night out in the past, I would literally just sit in one place, and people would come to me, you know? If I'm not there, I've probably gone to the washroom, and I'll come right back.
Amazing.
But now it's better. Now I can move around, now I can dance, now I can have independence of movement. So that's amazing.
I think we give you a chance to dance.
No, please. No, I'm not good enough yet.
Right.
Yeah.
Then all these elements to assist you in maybe the process of healing after all. When the doctors say that you can take drugs for quite a longer time, do you see yourself, of course, now coming back to normalcy?
100% yes. And also, I'm going to be a bit cheeky and say, doctors may behave like they know it all, but you're the one who's going through this situation. You know your body, you know yourself. At present, my neurologist had asked me to be on 4 pills a day, but it was too much for me, and the dyskinesia was out of this world, and I just asked myself, you know, for how long is this going to be sustainable? Are we just going to continue putting the dose up and up and up? Or is there going to be a point where I can actually reclaim control kidogo? So Hamisi said, let's try to reduce and try to see if your body can actually create its own dopamine. Because I think it's possible. It's hard, but it's not impossible. So when he said reduce, I reduced to 3 times. And then when I started the mukuna, the instructions were 2 times. So right now I'm on 2 times, which means at some point in the day, yes, it'll be a bit tough. But I can get through that, and I feel like I'm also encouraging my body to rebalance and reacclimatize. And science will tell me there's no cure. Science will tell me you can't heal. I'm not listening to any of that stuff. Life change is the only constant thing, right? Everything changes all the time. So I also believe that as much as I have this condition at this moment in time, even that could change as early as tomorrow, maybe in 5 years' time, who knows?
So you accepted?
Yes.
Right. So let's talk about now the awareness, of course, and the programs that you guys have to make sure that the awareness is home and many other people know about this condition. How important is this 11th of April?
11th of April was actually Mr. Parkinson's birthday. That's how they chose the date. But so globally now, the point is, Parkinson's can be a very hopeless condition if you're not careful. So the point is to create hope and shine a light and create awareness of this condition so more people are aware, especially like in a country like Kenya, in rural Kenya, watu wanakutupa tu. You get thrown away by the society. People say, "Huyu amerogwa," you know, he's a witch, she's a witch, etc. And they just push people out of the society. But really, these people die sad. They die alone, and that's unacceptable.
And Stephanie Murai is asking.
Hi, Stephanie.
Is asking, but this is on me. That did I do my research?
He did. Yeah, he did. We did it together. He's asking the right questions, right? Yeah.
So maybe I'm asking because of the layman's, for the layman's to really understand, because these are questions perhaps might be asked by
those
people in the comment section.
Yeah, it's okay. I will answer anything except my personal life.
All right. So support me with Mariah. She's saying, did the interviewer do any research prior to the interview based on the questions he's asking?
Yes, he did.
How does these questions assist you in understanding the context of awareness?
So I think that the questions are very pertinent towards uncovering the myths, uncovering the misconceptions, all these things, and they cover broad topics like treatment, management of symptoms, etc. How do I deal with daily life? Yes, it's very helpful.
Yeah. All right, so we were on the awareness, and you were explaining to me about the 11th of April.
Right. So globally, World Parkinson's Day is marked on the 11th. You might ask why. It's not really. Yes, it's a celebration to some extent. There's been a lot of scientific and medical advances, and they're making a lot of breakthroughs. But on the other side is to just inform the general public, let them know that this is a real thing, because some people even said I'm pretending on social media, and I'm like, man, I wish I was pretending. But yes, there's a lot of work that needs to be done. So awareness is very important, advocacy is very important. Even caregivers, the people who support the people with these conditions also deserve, you know, a shout out, a break, support of their own, you know, because if you're not well enough to take care of someone who's not well, you're both not helping each other. Yeah. So locally, April 11th, Kisumu faction will have their event. There's going to be a walk. They're going to help persons with Parkinson's register with the National Council for Persons with Disability. There'll be a few other things happening there as well. And then in Nairobi, we've been able to, Old Mutual has come on board, and they're allowing us to light up that building in blue. So globally, an association and alliance called PD Avengers, Parkinson's Disease Avengers, has made it their mission to light up buildings in blue in awareness of Parkinson's. So this is the first time it's going to happen in East Africa. So that'll happen on Friday the 11th at around 6:45. And then now on Saturday in Nairobi, we have an event at Visa Oshwal Center in Westlands, which will run from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. roughly. There will be people being screened for Parkinson's disease. There will be a play about Parkinson's disease. There will be acrobats and sarakasi and ghetto classics, and a lot is going to be happening on that day. All towards creating awareness of this condition, yes.
All right. Perfect awareness towards making sure that the society knows about this.
I'm not sure perfect is a word I would use. I don't think it's possible to reach perfect awareness, but yes.
But
striving towards that.
Indeed, striving towards perfect awareness.
Yes, awareness. We can just call it awareness.
You don't think we can have the perfect?
I mean, if there's a baby being born every minute or so, that baby wouldn't be born with this information, right?
Indeed.
So our work will always continue.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed. All right. So how will the Ministry of Health, the government, come in handy to towards the awareness that we are embracing in the next few days?
So gladly, this has been recognized as a disability in Kenya. But I still feel there's a very long way to go. In developed countries, in Europe, etc., they actually provide support financially for families of people and people who are afflicted by this condition. In Kenya, we don't really have that. In fact, the experience that I had getting registered with the NCWPD, NCPWD, sorry, was heartbreaking, to say the least. But we have sent them invites to be there at the event. Please, 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 guys, if you are in MOH, come give us support, learn more about people who are real, people who are living this condition. Come and see how you can support us a bit better as the government. Yes, I mean, for example, when I went for the assessment, I went to Mbogori Hospital. The assessment point and the gate, they don't allow cars in. This is a disability assessment. It's at the furthest point of the entire institution. So you have wheelchair, crutches, whatever situation you're situationing with, you have to find your way from the gate to the furthest point at the back of the hospital. Small things like that. I'm glad there were no stairs, because if there were stairs, I would just have, you know, so considerations like that. There were no chairs to sit on. I haven't actually spoken about this since I went to be registered, but that was not a good experience at all. And already, you're already living with a condition.
Indeed.
If they could just make it a little bit easier for us. There were mothers there with really young children. They can't even put the kids down because these kids have conditions of their own, right? These kids are 100% dependent on their mothers. There are no seats. There's no water. There's no refreshment.
So there's still a lot to be done.
There's a lot of work.
So Nduta, I want you to speak to the caregivers and the patients as well, and any other person that you will feel like to speak to, then give your shout outs. So you can use this camera.
Okay. Caregivers, Suruvi made a shout out, 360 caregivers as well. Thank you so much for all the work that you do. Everybody who has a patient, a family member, anybody that's supporting a friend, a relative, thank you so much for not giving up on us. We really appreciate you. What was the rest of your question? Sorry.
All right.
Shout outs.
Shout outs. Then did you speak to them?
I'm shy. I'm shy, but you all know yourself. Stephanie, thank you so much for following and for, you know, sending questions. Who else do I want to shout out? There's a lot of people I could shout out, but let me just be shy.
All right.
Let me just be shy.
Thank you so much. I believe you're not shy this place.
Yeah,
we're good to go.
Yeah.
All right. And I'm looking forward towards the event on the 11th.
11th and 12th.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Got to decide you to come through.
Yes, please. If you're able, please come.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Nduta M'mbogori. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your insights about this particular Parkinson's. You say there's no perfect awareness, but tunaweza tu make awareness.
Yes.
All right. Asante sana. Ladies and gentlemen, the conversation has been Parkinson's Awareness Month, indeed to understand the context on this particular condition. And questions that are being asked online, I believe they've been tackled by Nduta. And Stephanie Muraya says, good job, Nduta.
Thank you, darling. I appreciate that. We'll see you tomorrow bright and early.
Honestly, for me, it is a new thing, and I'm still learning day by day to really embrace this Parkinson's. It's the first time I'm having this conversation, and if it weren't for you, sidhani kama ningewahi zungumza about this.
But that's where awareness advocacy begins, right? Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you too. Thank you for having me. Thank you for creating this space.
It's a pleasure.
Let's educate Kenyans.
Indeed. And you are educated right here on the Morning Drift. Look Up Television. We have made it happen on Healthy Tuesday. It's a drift check, and as we embrace Parkinson's, remember the 11th of April and 12th will be the day for marking this particular Parkinson's. And by the way, if it matters as well to you, the awareness still continues across the country. Make it known, make it public, and the society gets educated about this particular condition. A big shout out to my director, King Dantimax, for enabling us to have this conversation, and above all, of course, the cameraman for impacting this to the best way possible. And all this wouldn't have been possible if it weren't for the uplifting of the sound. Thank you so much, Kamefe, for your lovely support. This is the Morning Drift. My name is Moses Skate. See you tomorrow, even as we embrace Social Awareness Day. Goodbye. See you next time.